Great. So first and foremost, welcome to our hard launch of Joint Missions. We are really excited. This is the first time in a long time that we've put out a fully new module, a fully new part of Prospr, that we're really pretty psyched about. I'll give you a little bit of background on how Joint Missions came to be and why this is the thing that we did next in our roadmap. Then you're going to hear from Alec at Prospr Sauna Studios. He's managing 4 or 5, 6 units now. Okay. And they've been beta testing Joint Missions since it started. And so they'll give you a little bit of a use case of Joint Missions in the wild. Then we're going to jump into the product, really walk through it. Everyone can see that there's a Q&A button on the bottom of your Zoom screen. Log your questions as you have them in the moment. Once we're done presenting, we'll really open up the floor and we'll get into all of those questions and anything that you want to have answered. So everybody on the call, except for a handful, are current Prospr users, right? Which is really great to see. The platform today, pre-Joint Missions, was a great place for community and conversation and some of the operational tools that you needed, like maintenance requests and ticketing and scheduling and all of those pieces that really made your businesses run. But what we really felt like that we could improve upon was, how do we now take your team and allow them to collaborate and work together in the same place that they're comfortable working, comfortable talking, comfortable getting their information and their schedules? How do we really take it another step forward and make Prospr really a part of the pace of your day and provide specific job guidance to individuals who are not necessarily working in a vacuum, but working as a team, a location, a working group, regional managers across the country, right? How do we work better together? And that was really the next step of Prospr that we've tried to tackle with Joint Missions. And we think that we have. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Alec Tincher. He can introduce himself, but he's a fantastic manager over at Prospr Sauna. He's been using Joint Missions for a couple of months. And so he's going to give you a little bit of an overview of how he uses it. And then we'll jump into product. Alec, take it away.
Yeah, awesome. Wow, thank you for those accolades, and thank you for having me today. So I guess basically, Erica, what I should talk about first is, like life before Prosper. Is that kind of how you want me to talk about it and then go into joint missions?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're moment.
So prior to using Prosper, I can't even remember what software system we were using because Prosper is so good. But it was just kind of a mess because we had places where we could go and do our scheduling, where we would clock in, clock out. Our resources were all over the place, and it just wasn't conducive to our franchise. And then whenever we took on Prosper, it really just kind of liquidated everything, put everything into one place. So Prosper has been great for, doing our scheduling, doing joint missions, of course. It's good for, we've used it for clocking in, clocking out, and everyone loves it. And I mean, I honestly can't think of a better, platform as of right now to do all that for. So that's my first initial thought on Prosper. And then also going into joint missions. Joint missions, when did that launch, Erica? A few
We launched it in October.
October. Okay. Yeah. Now it's coming back to me. So in October, that is when joint missions or the beta testing kind of launched, and we did it for a while. And essentially what joint missions was, we found that it was hard for Perspire to do checklists. We would have kind of the laminates at our studio where we would have daily check off things that need to be done, things like that. And things just weren't being done. It seems like, the more that we pushed it, doing laminates and whatnot, it just wasn't getting done. So we needed a better way to do that. And whenever we started using Prosper and joint missions was incorporated, it seems like everything just started clicking because all of us are always on our phones. So it was ready and available to use. If my staff didn't know what to do, they could go into joint missions and say, oh, this is the checklist for the day. This is what I need to do when I open. This is what I need to do for my closing tasks. Every day at the studio, we have like a daily cleaning list. They didn't have to go search to see what it was. It was just already on the phone. And whenever you check things off on a phone, like it's just so aesthetically pleasing to do, or what's the word, cathartic to do. So
Yeah.
it's also fun in that aspect as well. So up to this point, it's been amazing.
Thanks. So tell me
Mhm.
a little bit, what are the use cases that you're using joint missions for?
Yeah, so we use it for three primary things. We use it for our openers, things that they have to do in the morning, such as setting our saunas into a certain mode, making sure that any missed cleaning has been done, turning on the lights, setting out signs, etc. Things like that. Also with closing as well, our closers have certain duties, such as cleaning. Taking out the trash, recycling, things of that nature. And then third, the final thing would be like the daily cleaning list. Like today is deep cleaning the hardwood floors in the sauna. So things like that as well.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And how quickly did it take your team to kind of get comfortable and actually executing within the module?
I would say within 5 days. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anything else you want to share? I know your time is limited today.
um, what I would say was, if you want something that's good for your business or you company, something that's streamlined, something I also love about Prosper is if you think that there's something that Prosper needs, like maybe something's glitching or you think something could be added, you can let them know and they will take it into consideration and apply that. That's something that I've always loved about it. Whenever I've submitted requests, it seems like somebody already gets back to me as well. So customer service is top notch. Yeah.
Thanks. I didn't even ask you to say that. Thanks. That's like a shout out right to Lacey because she heads up customer success.
Absolutely.
Cool. Alec, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Uh,
Awesome. Thank you.
we're going to jump into the product, really kind of show you what it is. There are two different use cases for joint missions, and you'll see kind of how that works as soon as I share my screen. The first is for repetitive tasks that happen all of the time, right? Those cleaning lists, the way that Alec is using this. Things that happen, for example, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, every 15th of the month. There's a second use case for joint missions, which is for the things that repeat in your business, but not necessarily on a predictable schedule. Things like onboarding, new hire training, inventory day, right? Retail. So things that you want consistent across locations every single time so that you know that every single store, every single unit, every single department in your company is operating consistently, but not necessarily in such a every Monday we do this. So we're going to walk through the entire feature set. We're going to show you two different ways of using it. I just see that Samantha did join from Loveweld. She actually would be a great person. Sam, if you want to unmute yourself for a second, I'm not sure if your timing is tight, take a minute and kind of share how you're using joint missions. Otherwise, we can do it after the presentation. It's truly up to you. I don't know how to unmute you. Lace, do me a favor. Can you make me the host, please? Got it. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. First, we're going to go into the desktop view, the admin side of Prospr Joint Missions. Then we're going to flip into the mobile side so that you can really see what your team will experience when they are using this. Okay. And let me know when you guys can see my screen. Perfect. Okay. So as Joint Missions is a totally new module, it's going to exist on its own in your menu drawer. You can create new missions with a click. You can create folders for missions. So you can keep these organized by store, by department, by region, by type. You can see here that I have two different kinds of missions. One that's obviously much more repetitive, like a daily floor operation, right? You can see that I can have objectives, subtasks. I can assign specific tasks to specific team members. I can add attachments, right? So for example, I want them to unlock the doors, and here's a PDF of all of the different codes, anything that they might need to troubleshoot. Everything is delivered to your team in one panel, one screen of glass, so that they can really just execute excellently. Let's add an objective so you can kind of see what that looks and feels like. Let's water the plants. Something I consistently forget to do. So we're going to water the plants. I can add descriptions, right? So 1 ice cube, potted plants, cup of water, succulents, nada. Right? And I can say, great, I know that Lacey has a green thumb. I want her to do this. I can even give people guidance if I wanted to add attachments, photos, etc. And now I can say, great, right? Let's add some subtasks. We have orchids. We have potted plants. Succulents left alone. I can even add comments, descriptions, and attachments to subtasks as well. So I can be incredibly granular about the kind of job guidance, very specific job guidance, which makes it nearly impossible for frontline team members, whether they're a legacy team member or started yesterday, not to be able to execute, not to be able to perform, not to be able to contribute to your overall company success. Really easy from their mobile phone. Let's talk about some of the settings that I now have on this right-hand panel. So who is this for, right? I can assign a mission to an entire location. I can assign a mission to a team within a location. I can assign a mission to specific people. So for example, maybe Robin and Roberto also need to be a part of this, even though they don't necessarily work ops in Los Angeles. I'm able to see everyone who is a part of this mission. A crew captain is a team member role in Prospr, so someone who is not a manager role type in Prospr, but you do want to have managerial access to this mission, which means they can add subtasks, they can add objectives, they can respond to employee team member questions within a subtask or an objective. So they basically can act as a manager within this project, right? Think key holders, shift leaders, things of that nature. Watchers would pretty much be you. So who do you want to be making sure that things are getting done, the trains are running on time across your entire organization, right? You can watch every single mission you have. For example, we have someone who has 170 some odd stores and one watcher for all of them, or you can have regionals that just watch their stores, etc. You can have multiple watchers, one watcher, and then you can schedule your mission, right? If this repeats daily, it repeats daily. We can say, great, this is something that happens every Friday, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Maybe this is just Saturday, Sundays, right? So you have a lot of flexibility in how you deliver these and when. Potentially, this is something that happens, for example, on the last day of every month. If you are creating a more instance-based mission, for example, you have a new hire, they need to go through a new hire checklist. You would choose do not repeat. And then you would launch it for that person individually each time. We'll go through that as well. We can add due dates. So we can say, hey, I need this done by the end of every day. I want this done an hour after somebody starts it, right? This is something that needs to get done by 5 p.m. each day. Potentially this is open-ended, right? So it ends when it ends. Maybe this is something that we think, for example, I've seen missions used for pre-sale, pre-construction, right? Or even construction, where they say, great, this is maybe going to take 30 days. Or we want it to automatically end with the last completed objective. For us, we're going to say this ends at the end of the day. Shift only access if you are using Prospr scheduling. We can actually take the crew that we've made up here and segment it further to say it's the ops team in Los Angeles only when they are on shift. Right? So if on Monday, 2 of these 6 crew members work, and on Wednesday, 2 others work, on Monday, those 2 team members will receive the checklist. On Wednesday, the other 2 team members would receive the checklist. I can clone missions. So if I'm a multi-unit operation, which most of Prospr customers are, you can very simply say, great, now I have automatic transparency, accountability, and consistency across every single unit, that you know everybody's moving the same direction at the same pace and receiving the same information, right? So you're bypassing the variance between leaders and managers directly from HQ to ensure that everybody's getting the same access to information and the same opportunity to make sure everything's running the same way every time. Great. Boom, there it is. I can see my progress as things start happening. I can see who's doing what. Right, so I can go in here and I can say, great. I can see that Lacey has marked this complete. And as that objective is now done, 14%, because she has done the closing procedure. Right, I can really start to see my team collaborate here in real time with a progress bar at a glance in my missions. Okay. The second piece of this puzzle is when you necessarily don't have something that repeats Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or every Friday, but you have something like a new hire onboarding, right? An instance-based project that you want done the same way every single time, no matter who's being onboarded, in what state, in what time zone. You'll set your template within missions. You'll set it to do not repeat. You won't add any crew. This is essentially saying, this is how we do things. This is our SOP. Managers would say, great, let's clone this. We have a new hire onboarding for Kim K. We're going to clone this mission. We're going to assign it to the new team member. We'll make her manager the watcher so they can stay on top of it. Great. If we only want her to do these tools and go through this process when she's actually working, we can give it shift only access. We don't care. Boom, publish it. Right, and now you've ensured that every single person is getting the exact same thing every single time. I'm going to flip over into my phone and show you guys what this looks like and feels like from the team member view. And again, that question and answer box, please feel free to use it. And we will make sure that we get to every question that we have as soon as possible. All right, let me share the screen. Perfect. So here I am as Kim in my Prospr. If I'm in my day as a team member, I'm being automatically served the missions and checklists that are being given to me, right? So you can see here that I have my daily floor operations, of which I'm a part of a team on, and my personal new hire onboarding. Right, great. I've done that, fantastic. Right, I can get into my forms, I can access Prospr resources. Everything is here. I can schedule a virtual coffee. I can write notes. I can add attachments to subtasks as a team member who's actually doing them. So for example, if I have my I-9 here, I can very simply take that I-9 that I filled out and actually upload it to this checklist itself, to the mission itself. And then for things that are more repetitive that I'm collaborating on with my peers. Great. Wear and tear check. Done. Check inventory levels. Potentially, I want to take a picture and say, hey, something's not right. I can literally take a picture of exactly what I see. I can upload this to my mission, right? So everything will live right there for your team, right? And then you as a manager can see everything that your team sees in real time. You can reply. My other team members can see this as well. So Lacey, who's on this team with me, can say, hey, actually, it's in the second closet on the third drawer, right? Or it's behind the door, right? So people can really actually work together in real time. If there's ever a time I can't do something, it will actually prompt your team to make a ticket. right? So this is not just about how do we keep things in one place and get them organized, but how do we actually action and bring attention to issues that your team is having? Right, those will either go to your facilities managers, your team managers, your regionals, however you have your workspace set up. And as an admin, I'm able to see across all of my missions that I'm watching that are happening under my purview, where things are in progress and where they are that day. Okay. So that is missions, right? It's really about collaborative task management and taking Prospr a step further into the day-to-day operation of your team throughout, open, close, and really becoming a pulse of your day-to-day workday. So let's actually jump into some questions then. And Sam, if you can connect to audio, that would be great. The first question is, if checklists are currently a successful way to have daily tasks and Prospr shifts, what are other options? Okay. Great question. So I think we've kind of covered this, right? So daily tasks, cleaning lists, how-tos, and then instance-based things like new hires, onboardings, inventory day, retail, really anything that happens in your business that you want to ensure consistency on, that everyone's getting the same guidance. That is how I would use missions. They're completely flexible. They're completely customizable. You can use them however you want and however makes sense for your business. I'm happy to unmute everybody, or anybody can actually unmute themselves. And any questions that you have, we're happy to answer, and we're here. We almost made it, guys, without the dog. Kevin, I see you have a hand up. I don't know if that's intentional.
Yeah, that was from earlier. We couldn't get the our speaker working, so I unplugged it accidentally.
No problem. Do you have any questions that we can answer for you?
Yeah, we're just starting to get cranked up here. I mean, we got a pretty good pulse on it right now, but I really like the idea of the onboarding with a new employee, like your 20 things that you got to do before you start your job and whatnot. And that's part. So we're going to crank that up with the different disciplines and get people doing that, because like you said earlier, it's fun to check off the boxes and get it going,
Yeah. And also it really makes sure that you're crossing all of your T's, dotting your I's in like an automated way, that you're not chasing somebody down to get everything that you need.
Excellent.
Yeah. And if there's anything that you need, reach out. We would love to get these going for you guys. We think we've seen really great success with the beta testers, really taking task management and collaboration to the next level.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having the little webinar, everybody. And for those of you on the call, this is a non-paid plug for America here, but we love the program, and I know we're just at the pinnacle of the iceberg as far as the usage of it, and the team is generally coming along with it. Some departments more than others, but it's nice. It's a great program, and we thank you for putting it together, Erica.
Thank you so much, guys. We love working with you. So feelings mutual. We have one more question. Sam's trying to connect. She says, happy to be a resource to anyone about joint missions. It's been integral to up-leveling LoveWeld. Sam, thank you. We really appreciate your trying to join. Yeah.
Awesome.